Are you a foreign buyer thinking of buying your first home here in New York City? Here are the 4 things to consider before you do so. Coming up. Hi, this is Kai with the Kai Wong team, helping you better understand everything you need to know about New York City real estate. Today I have the honor of introducing you to Tim Alamong from Alamong & Associates. How are you doing today, Tim?
Good, Kai. Thanks for having me today.
Thank you for being here. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
Sure. I am a New York City real estate attorney, which means that I represent buyers and sellers of residential and commercial real estate. My typical properties that I'm dealing with are co-ops, condos, multi and single family homes, and large buildings.
So for a lot of international clients, they're really not familiar with the purchase process here in New York City. So I wanted to talk to you, like, what are the 4 steps that you would recommend them kind of understanding and knowing about the process? What's number 1?
Right, so I always tell foreign buyers to understand first that you are treated no differently than a US citizen when you're purchasing. In other words, there are no special taxes or levies that are imposed on you simply because you're a foreign buyer.
A lot of other countries, they do have those special taxation for foreigners, and which can add up in terms of the purchase price. So what's number 2?
Number 2 is, should you buy in the name of an LLC? I get this on every deal, and I tell people that you have to understand an LLC provides you protection and it provides you with privacy, but there are drawbacks.
So Tim, what do you mean by protection?
Protection, because a limited liability company protects the owner from having his or her personal assets drawn out in litigation. So if you own a investment real estate unit in New York and the tenant or someone sues you for a slip and fall, then the plaintiff in that action can only go after that specific piece of real estate. They cannot go after your other investment properties or your income, your stock, or your personal residence.
Yeah, that's really important, especially for foreign buyers, because they want to make sure their other assets are protected.
Right, and generally it takes a matter of a day to set up an LLC. Your real estate attorney can handle it for you.
Nice. So what do you mean by privacy?
Privacy, if you put the property into the name of an LLC, it will protect you from having your name show up on county records office filings. For example, in New York City, we have what's called ACRIS, where we record all of our mortgages and deeds. The LLC name would be indexed on ACRIS instead of yours. And we also have to remember that search engines are indexing people's names based off of the records that it pulls from websites like ACRIS. So really, you're protecting yourself from showing up on Google as well.
What's the drawback of having an LLC?
Drawback is the initial startup cost, and that can be broken down with the fee for the New York State filing fee. You have to publish in a newspaper for 6 weeks, which is a very arcane New York law.
Yeah.
And you're generally going to pay an attorney to set everything up for you.
So what's the third part?
Third part is what are your closing costs? So foreign buyers, I have noticed, are typically purchasing new development condominiums. And that transaction is a little separate than if you're purchasing a condominium from a regular seller. New development condominium purchases, the buyer is generally tasked with also paying the transfer taxes, which in other deals is paid by the seller. They're also charged with paying for their sponsor's legal attorney fees.
Yeah, those are all additional costs when they're buying new developments. When you do a resale, you don't have any of those costs.
Absolutely. Correct.
Okay. And what's number 4?
What are the taxes on your back end? So like I said before, you are not charged any additional taxes or levies if you're simply a foreign buyer. However, when we sell property, everyone has to expect a taxable event. And for foreigners, it's a little bit different.
Okay.
So at the closing table, the purchaser is actually responsible for withholding 15% of the purchase price from the seller at the table and instead giving it directly to the IRS. So this is not a tax, this is a withholding. This is to ensure that the seller is paying his or her capital gains tax on the back end when they go to sell.
Got it. And as long as they pay their taxes and all, they can get the withholding back?
Correct. So my advice to sellers who are foreign nationals is to link up with a accountant or an attorney in advance and apply for a predetermination withholding certificate.
Okay.
What that allows is for you to set up an agreement with the IRS that they will take a reduced amount, in other words, less than 15%, or no amount, depending if you are even expecting to make a profit off of your sale.
Thank you so much for watching this video. Hope you found it informative. If you have any questions or any other topics you want us to cover in a future video, please leave it in the comment below. If it's your first time here, consider subscribing. On this channel, we share with you buying, selling tips, market updates, and neighborhood guides. So feel free to share and subscribe. See you in the next video. Bye.
Bye.